I'm asking you this morning on Twitter. I want to know, what your reaction is to the latest restrictions on what we can and can't do. The 6 people limit is probably going to last through Christmas. COVID marshals. Seriously, I've got serious issues with that. Never give the jobs worth high-vis jackets and clipboards. It's always going to go wrong, folks. And also, of course, the idea of this moonshot £100 billion testing regime. CML says, I'm not surprised one bit. I've been saying since this started in spring and then summer, no way would they relent going into autumn and winter. This is only half of it. It's going to be utter hell once 1 in 4 or 5 are out of a job. LDS says, I've adhered. Everyone I know has pretty much adhered. There's no way all will do it, ever. We are being imprisoned because the entire nation never complied fully to their plan. This is dictatorship from the government. Volvo Fact says, my reaction is disgust. But Bruce says, everyone in the family either gets an Extinction Rebellion t-shirt or a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, and the whole extended family will hold an impromptu demonstration at our house. Job done, foolproof, because let's face it, the police don't seem to mind about those. Dave says, it will break my heart to tell the wife's mother she can't come for Christmas. Rather too many smiley faces there, Dave. I think you. Jay says, I'm with you, every cloud. Steve says, nope, I'm having Christmas with my family. Mel says, I'm not seeing cancelled Christmas. It'll still happen unless they skip 25th of December. And Lucy says, I'm taking absolutely no notice. No idea if the COVID that Hancock and Boris have had has made them extra cautious or if they love this. I do support the government, but not in this. We're quite capable of protecting our own families, vulnerable without this. Well, let's talk about all this now with Richard Tice. He's chairman of the Brexit Party and businessman. And Richard, we do want to talk about Brexit and the latest shenanigans over all of that, but I must get your thoughts. I know you've been quite outspoken on the issue of getting people back to work, getting people back in the workplace and the lockdown. What's your reaction to the latest restrictions on our daily lives?
Good morning, Julia. Well, I'm truly appalled by these latest huge restrictions that the government is imposing. It's totally unnecessary, Julia, when you look at the data. Now, this is a government and a prime minister who've always banged on about relying on the science. Well, firstly, scientists agree as much as economists do, but the data, the real data shows that actually, when you look at the number of hospitalizations and the number of deaths, they are bumping along record lows.
But they're all going up now. Hospitalisations and deaths have gone up by a very, very small number.
By a tiny percentage. You've got more chance of dying of flu here in England than you have of dying of the virus. When you look at the percentage of people who are tested, who test positive with this disease, it's less than 2%. This is a complete overreaction to a disease that actually we are now basically on top of. Younger people are getting the virus. We're treating it much better using remdesivir and dexamethasone. And, we need a government that starts to say to people, you can't eliminate risk. You've got to manage and mitigate it. But we've got to get on with our lives. We've got to get on with kickstarting the economy again. We've got to try and protect our city centres. We've got to come to terms with the change in our working lives and try and get a win-win out of part working from home, part getting back into the office. We cannot prejudice our children and our grandchildren's, lives and future generations with this appalling dictatorial way of running one of the greatest democracies in the world.
Are you going to comply with the new COVID rules? I've been really, very, assiduous about trying to do the right thing. I think of myself as a law-abiding person, but I feel some of this is a step too far for me living in a free democracy.
You're absolutely right, Julia. And the truth is that the government has lost the confidence of the people because of its continuing incompetence on so many issues. And I think the majority of people recognise that the government has completely misinterpreted what's going on. And I think the majority of people, myself included, will say, do you know what? I think I'll work out what represents a risk to others, and we will apply our own judgment. And that's what you do in a free and democratic society. So, I think we're in a very difficult place. I think the government's completely misjudged and misread the data, and it's not good. And the implications for businesses, for jobs, are truly appalling. people who've just started to reopen up and start investing again, are they going to continue to do so, or are they going to say, no, I've got to hold back?
And that's the fear, isn't it? Like, I mean, I have to say, look, I don't think people like Chris Whitty, misread the data. It seems to me it's your willingness to take what you consider to be reasonable risks in your life, and we can leave a COVID risk life. Unfortunately, being COVID risk free means you have loads of other risks. As we know, we're seeing people dying of cancer and heart disease because they're not getting treated, and we're going to see God knows how many deaths as a result of the massive lockdown. And when we do actually start seeing those mass job losses that we are going to see at the end of that furlough scheme, I think a lot of people are going to feel very different. I think we are heading into a very, very difficult winter. Let me talk also about the other thing we're told we're supposed to be fearful of. Again, how willing are you to take a risk that life outside the EU will be terrible or not? We've got the Brexit trade deal negotiations still going on. Prime Minister pressing ahead yesterday with the publication of the UK Internal Markets Bill, being told that this basically planned to override parts of the withdrawal agreement he signed, saying, we didn't go into the detail, it was done too quickly. We know the Prime Minister's not a details man. The suspicion now, look, this is entirely just a way of trying to force movement from the EU. It's a high-risk strategy. It's upset people like Sir John Major, who says it's going to damage Britain's standing on the world stage. I always think it's a good day when John Major's unhappy. But I mean, we're told this is a breach of international law in a very specific and limited way, and it's all a bit of game playing. Is this brinkmanship, or is this a risk to our national reputation as a country that follow international law?
Not at all. That's complete nonsense. It's interesting, isn't it? The people who are bleating loudest about all of this are those who actually didn't want Brexit. They then wanted to try and stop Brexit, the likes of John Major, Dominic Grieve, David Gauke, all these people. The truth is that what this bill does is iron out some very technical issues regarding trading in different parts of the United Kingdom. We are a sovereign nation. We're perfectly entitled to organise the trade and the technical issues around it, most of which are far too boring to bore people with, amongst our, within our own nation. And the withdrawal agreement entitles us to do that under something called Section 38, which says that our sovereignty overrides everything else. So we're perfectly entitled to do this. And the truth is that the European Union, they have demonstrated bad faith throughout these negotiations, which puts them in breach of the withdrawal agreement themselves. And for them to say that we've broken the letter and the spirit of the agreement, frankly, is a bit rich coming from them when you see how they're trying to negotiate on things like fishing and state aid with the political declaration and the future trading arrangement. They're in breach, in my view, and therefore, yes, look, there's some tough negotiations, but really and truly, this is a complete, it's a song and dance about, frankly, not a lot. I think our Commonwealth partners around the world will respect us for looking after our own internal trading arrangements.
Okay, well, we shall wait and see what happens. Richard Tice, Brexit Party Chairman, very much appreciate you joining us.